November 9, 2021. It's 7:06. This is our regular council meeting. We welcome everyone. Hope we have a good time tonight. Thank you for the club. Let's call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Timothy. Here. Councilman Desilme. Councilman Galvin. Mayor Bieneme.
Here.
Councilwoman Estimé Irvin.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. Now let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance with Major Donald Blanchard from the North Miami Police Department, followed by the invocation by Pastor Nathaniel Sutton from Bethany Evangelical Covenant Church.
Please place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Thank you.
Prayer, Pastor Sutton.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you and we bless you for the life that you have blessed us with. We pray this evening, God, that you will bless tonight's city council meeting. May you bless our mayor, bless the men and women of the council. May you bless every resident and citizen of this great American city. We pray that you will govern and guide tonight's meeting with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, counsel, power, and fear of the Lord. In the name of Christ, we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Sutton, and thank you, Major Blanchard from the North Miami Police Department. Madam City Manager, do we have any addition, deletion, amendments, or defer to the agenda?
No.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Attorney, is the agenda set? Proceed.
Yes, Mayor, the agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. Special presentation by Commander Angelo Branson for hurricane preparedness and COVID-19 updates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Commander Angelo Branson, Emergency Management. We have finally reached the final month of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. At this moment, we are not currently tracking any storms that may impact South Florida. However, we will continue to monitor until the end of the season, which ends November 30th. At that point, we'll just start getting ready for next year. Moving on to COVID-19, Miami-Dade experienced actually an increase this week or last week in COVID-19 cases. As reported to the Florida Department of Health, last week were 2,120 new cases over the previous week of 1,986, which is an increase of 134. Now, obviously, Miami-Dade County is a county of 2 million, so 134 cases is not a lot, but obviously, it's just a reminder that we're not out of the woods yet, and all of us need to continue doing our part to slow the spread of COVID-19, which, as we've been saying the whole time, is wearing a mask, washing your hands, and social distancing. In closing, the City of North Miami is partnered with World Safe First, and we're still offering testing and vaccinations at 2 city facilities. At the Joe Celestine Center, which is located at 1525 Northeast 135th Street, and at the Gwen Margolis Community Center, located at 1590 Northeast 123rd Street. Residents can receive testing Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and vaccinations, all 3 brands are available on Saturdays by appointment only. That's my presentation. If anyone has any questions?
Thank you very much, Commander Branson. Do we have any questions? Branson?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let's move downstairs for special presentation. Today is November 9th, and the month of November is put aside, and it's called November is National Adoption Month. And you know how adoption is something important in our community. And you know, so many so many of our pets need home. And they need a family. And there's no better way to show a child that we love him, we love her, than provide them with a safe place to live. Here in the city of North Miami, we have 28 adoptive families in our city that provide shelter to those kids in need. And tonight, for National Adoption Month, we are recognizing 4 of them. We would like to do it for all of them, but we just choose 4 out of the 28. But we should be honoring all 28 families in the city of North Miami. And thank you for your service. The same way, and 2 days, we're going to pay tribute to the veteran, right? Who sacrificed their lives in order for us to be safe here. The same way we need to honor those who help those kids get a place to live. The 4 families that we are recognizing today, it's Tammy Jones, please come forward. Kaja Mendez, Alexander Mendez, and yes, you can come here. You can come here. What's the name? Yeah, you can. Alexander Mendez. Picture. You can come with the child. Kids. Marie Mold. Where's the note? You didn't get it. Marie Mold. We are waiting for the names. What names? I don't know if one of you guys want to say something, or you want to say something? Yeah.
I was adopted at the age of 6 weeks old, so I can certainly appreciate everything that you parents are giving to your kids and to your families. So thank you for what you've done for all of these young.
And Louis, or the students, Elizabeth Almono. Yeah. Thank you very much. Next. You guys.
Yeah, that's it. Right there. With some shorts. No, they say she's not here. I don't see her. Is she here? I don't see her. Oh, she's here. She just raised her hand. She's all the way in the back. No, she just got here. Oh, Lord. I know.
And Henry Patel, Henry, if you're here,
So-
this is the
and-
time to make self shown for
You
your
know that.
proclamation.
That Vanessa's fault. Emanuela Florimo, where are you? It's for service to this community, and you know she's been working tirelessly to help the community, whether it's food distribution or in the health care service. And she's been doing multiple, you know, wellness event throughout the city of North Miami and throughout Miami-Dade County. And right now she's the executive director for a food bank in the city of North Miami, and also a clinic, medical clinic, that's provide free service to the community. And Extra Mile EO, and this year it's been given to Emanuela Fleurimont, and we recognize today, November 9th, 2021, as Emanuela Fleurimont Day. Oh, there's another proclamation, and they keep giving me proclamation, and it's you? Not here? And do Heritage Month. He's not here. Huh? Thank you very much.
Some more? Wait, what about city event?
And now city events.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. My name is Suzette Cabrera, Communications Manager at the City of North Miami, and it's my pleasure to share some of our city's upcoming events with you. Join the City of North Miami as we honor all military veterans who have served in the United States Armed Forces during this year's Veterans Day ceremony. The ceremony will be held on Thursday, November 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial at Griffin Park. The Office of the City Clerk has partnered with Councilman Desolme to host a community forum in District 4. This event will be held on Friday, November 12th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 at the Sunkist Grove Community Center. For more information or to RSVP, please contact the Office of the City Clerk at 305-895-9817. On Saturday, November 13th, join Councilwoman Mary Estime Irvin as she partners with the Robert Filippo Epilepsy Organization to host this month's Get in Gear bike ride. Registration starts at 8 a.m. over at the Mocha Plaza. For more information, call the office of the Mayor and Council at 305-895-9815. This year's NOMI Brewfest will feature the best selection of brews and bites from across South Florida. This annual outdoor event will take place on Saturday, November 13th at Mocha Plaza from 12 noon to 6 p.m. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit northmiamibrewfest.com. District 2 Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy, MPA, will host a Thanksgiving meal giveaway on Wednesday, November 17th from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This event is open to the first 200 District 2 residents who register. To register, visit d2-giveaway.eventbrite.com. For more information, contact the Office of the Mayor and Council at 305-895-9818. Mark your calendar for MOCA's forthcoming exhibition called My Name is Marianne, curated by Allison M. Gingeras. This monographic exhibition will present 4 decades of paintings, sculptures, drawings, and film by Polish-born artist Marianne. The exhibition will open to the public on November 17th, and it will run until March 20th, 2022. Support the North Miami Educational Foundation on Give Miami Day. The foundation is in its 7th year of implementing a scholarship fund exclusively for North Miami residents. More than 110 high school graduates have received scholarships from the North Miami Educational Foundation since 2014, with 20 students receiving awards of $5,000 each this year. This 24-hour online event, hosted by the Miami Foundation, begins at 12 a.m. on November 18th. All donations will directly support the scholarship fund. To donate, visit givemiamiday.org/NMEFI. It's time to update the city's comprehensive plan. Help us improve our beautiful North Miami communities by joining us at this public work session on Thursday, November 18th at 6 p.m. This session will be held at our City Hall chambers right here on the 2nd floor. For more information, call the Community Planning and Development Department at 305-895-9828. Join the North Miami CRA as they present the Caribe Arts Fest, a pre-Art Basel event happening on Saturday, November 20th at Griffin Park from 12 noon to 10 p.m. Enjoy live entertainment, food, and art. For more information, visit caribeartsfest.com. Mayor Philip Biename invites you to the NOMI Angels event benefiting the North Miami Tree Project, North Miami Police Department Domestic Violence Unit, and the Police Athletic League of North Miami. The event will begin at 8 p.m. on Saturday, November 20th at the American, Czech, and Slovak Cultural Club of North Miami. To stay up to date with NOMI news and events, log on to our website at northmiamifl.gov. Click on Connect with NOMI on the homepage to sign up for our newsletters. You may also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at NOMI News. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the special presentation. And now we're going to have a special presentation by the North Miami Library, 24 hours self-service, automated library presented by Lucia Gonzalez, the Executive Director, and Director, and Paul Basile, Librarian.
Good evening,
Yes, good evening.
Mayor,
Lucia.
members of council, to the city manager. My name is Lucia Gonzalez, Library Director,
Paul Brazil, librarian.
and we're here tonight to present a special project that is project from the library. It is very unique, very modern, and addresses 3 pivotal elements of the American Rescue Plan. 2020 came, and with it, the spotlight on many of the inequities that existed in our community, in the families in our community. Inequities that were there pre-pandemic, but that became inevitably too obvious during the times when the schools closed and the library closed and the families were left adrift. The ones that have continued on their path to success in whatever new way that they could access. The ones that didn't have struggled, and many of the students of all ages, and I'm not just saying school age, but college students and so on, struggled and many did not succeed. In order to address those inequities and that great gap that became too evident, the library would like to present one solution, one way to help solve the many problems that we face nowadays with lack of access to technology, lack of access to internet services, and lack of access to information and resources. And now I would like to invite Paul, who has been leading the project since its conception, to present the project for you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Paul Brazil, librarian. As Lucia previously mentioned, I'm the project manager for this 24-hour library. Tonight I'm going to give you guys a brief presentation on the 24-hour library. I'm going to discuss different topics such as the benefits and features, the proposed location, the target population, the timeline, and the outreach. At the end of the presentations, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, Lucia. So, what is the 24-hour library? The 24-hour library is What is the 24-hour library? So the 24-hour library is a self-automated machine that contains up to 1,340 items. It provides 24/7 access to library materials and services at a fraction of the cost of building a new branch. Now, it's important to understand when we say 1,340 items, it's because although it's a self-automated library machine that provides books, we have the flexibility of also including other types of materials. As you guys know, right now at the library, we're checking our hotspots to patrons. But we have the flexibility of putting hotspots inside the machine. We have the flexibility of putting other types of materials inside of the machine rather than books. So that's why it's important to emphasize the 1,340 items instead of 1,340 books. Later on in the presentation, I'll elaborate more on the other types of items as well. So some of the key benefits and features of the 27 library branch include checking out returning materials, requesting materials and placing holds, and like I just mentioned before, checking out Wi-Fi hotspots. So the way it works, the person would go to the library, to the machine. They would go with the best card in the world, the library card. They would check out the material, and they have the option of either returning the material at the machine or they can return it at the physical location. They also have the option of requesting materials and placing holds at the machine as well. So, for example, if you live closer to the machine, or if it's more convenient for you to go to the machine, you can go to that machine. If there's an item that you do not see in that specific machine, you can request a hold on it. The library receives a notification, and then the following day we fulfill that hold. The following day when we fulfill that hold, you'll get an email and a text message saying such and such item is ready for you at the 24/7 library branch. The Wi-Fi hotspots, that's one of the proposed items we are going to implement inside of the machine. We understand when we got the hotspots last year, we saw that it was a huge success with patrons. A lot of patrons came and checked out the hotspots. So we think adding the hotspots in this 24/7 machine will allow patrons to continue to get the hotspots rather than just coming to the physical branch. And they'll also have the ability to check it out regardless what time of the day it is. In addition, the 24/7 library will allow patrons to download ebooks and audiobooks, browse the library's physical and digital collection, pay overdue and replacement fines and fees, and it's equipped with 24/7 control. Before I get into the 24/7 control, if a patron walks up to the branch and there's an audiobook or an electronic audiobook, an ebook or electronic audiobook, they have the ability to scan a QR code at the machine and allow them to download those digital materials. Now, of course, they don't have to go to the branch itself. That's the whole purpose of a digital collection. but it gives them the option to do that as well. What we foresee when we implement this project is that people who are not aware of library services, when they see this machine, that'll allow them to know that the city of North Miami has a library within the city boundaries. And then, of course, you don't have to live in North Miami to have a library card. So even people outside of North Miami in unincorporated areas or even Opelika, wherever they live, if they use the proposed location, which I'll elaborate more in the next few slides, they'll be able to see the different resources and services we offer. They can browse the physical and digital collection, like I mentioned earlier, so they can go to the machine. They can see what we have in the machine and at the location. They also have the ability to pay fines and fees. Right now, we don't take any credit card payments for fines and fees at the physical location, but at the machine, they'll be able to pay with a credit card as a payment. Now, the 24/7 control, just like the physical branch right now, if someone tries to break into the library, God forbid, authorities would be called. First personnel would be called. So Lucia gets a call, then I get a call, and if we do not answer the call, then of course authorities is dispatched. This is the same thing for this 24/7 library. If it's tampered with for whatever reason, if kids are walking by and they're throwing rocks at the machine for some strange reason, it'll alert Lucia and I or whoever is the personnel on staff. And then if we cannot answer, it'll dispatch authorities, whether it's fire, police. It's also equipped with 4 security cameras that's accessible remotely. So if we ever want to see any type of activity that went on the day before, the day of, if we missed a call, we have the ability to check that as well. So here on this slide is the 24-hour machine. I do want to put on the record, although on this slide it looks plain, we will get the machine like this, but we have the ability to customize the exterior. So we do have plans on customizing the exterior by wrapping it with a nice design, putting NOMI 24/7 library, whatever we decide. On the right-hand side, right here on this right-hand side is one of the display screens that I think would be beneficial, not only to the library, but the city as a whole. On the right-hand side, it's a display screen that allows us to put different types of information, whether it's a flyer. So it's another source and a benefit to our communications team. So for example, the back-to-school bash, any type of event we want to display that, we can do that as well. Here on the right-hand side and here on the main system control, the 2 screens, 2 patrons can use them simultaneously. So if it's a family of 2 or 3, or whatever the number is, the mom can be searching for items, and then the kids can be on the other side searching for items as well. So the proposed location is the Joe Sellison Center. Now, as you guys know, the Joe Sellison Center is located within District 4. And then I'll explain why we selected the Joe Sellison Center and why we think this is the best appropriate, and this location would maximize our efforts and plans. So some of the reasons why we selected Joe Sellison Center is because of the high traffic, the intergenerational access, and the near underserved schools. As you can see on this slide, I have the 4 nearest schools. Not all of them are within city limits, but there's a reason why we call them there's a reason we call them underserved schools, excuse me. Sadly, within the past decade, a lot of the schools have been suffering when it comes to libraries and library media specialists and just a media center alone. So as a matter of fact, Benjamin Franklin, K-8, which is the closest next to Joe Sellison Center, they have a media center, but they don't have any librarian on staff. Westview K-8 Center, they don't have any librarian on staff. And in Northwest Christian Academy, they don't have a librarian or a media center at all. St. James, they do have a media center and a librarian, but the other 3 schools I just mentioned either don't have a media specialist at all, or a librarian, or both. So it's sad to see, because we understand, as you guys know, we understand the importance of libraries, and not just libraries, the importance of librarians early on with students, and how important it could be, whether it's for the curriculum, the reading, and the development throughout the early stages. So here on this slide, we have the target population. We're aiming to target everyone, youth, adult, families, and seniors, especially those residing in the west part of the city and nearby unincorporated area. As Lucia mentioned earlier, some of the needs that we're addressing with this proposed 24/7 library branch is access to technology, internet services. I do want to mention the machine also provides a Wi-Fi hotspot. So anyone who is at the park, whether they're running or for whatever reason they're at the Joe Sellison Center, we understand Joe Sellison provides Wi-Fi as well, but with this being on the exterior, it can expand the range to the residents or patrons at the park. Here on this slide, we listed the nearby libraries. We listed all of the nearby libraries, including the City of North Miami Beach, which is one of the 4 municipal libraries in the county. As you guys know, most of the libraries are operated by the county system. And the reason we included the municipal plus the county is we wanted to show you guys the distance between the Joe Sellison Center and the other libraries. Now you have to think about how the schools that we mentioned earlier is mainly K through 8, or we have one school that's K through 12. So because of traffic barriers such as major highways, we're not expecting kids to get on a bike and to ride over to the city of Opa-locka in order to get to the library. So by putting this machine here, we have the ability to address those kids that need the books, whether it's for the projects, whether it's for curriculum. So that's the reason we listed these miles here, because I'm sure no one would want their 7th grader or the 6th grader walking over or riding their bike over to the city of Opa-locka. And the next slide, I'll explain how the 24/7 also allows us to cater to the schools and the students. Now, of course, nothing is done without a team, so we understood how important partnerships were. So some of the departments that we're partnering with is Parks and Recreation, Social Services, and community stakeholders. So, of course, Parks and Rec will provide the site. The library staff will maintain and oversee the collection of the materials. And then the way we plan on partnering with community stakeholders and social services, for example, pre-pandemic, we understand that the social services department, they had a senior program at the Joe Sellison Center. So if, for example, when they return to the Joe Sellison Center, social services contacts us and say, hey, next month we would like all of our seniors to read this exact book, we would make it easy for the make it easy for the social services department by placing those books inside of the machine and then make it easier for them. Here is the proposed location. As you can see on the slide, it'll go right in between the 2 palm trees. We met with Parks and Rec, IT, the electricians, just to make sure this was the best feasible spot at the location. Parks and Rec will remove the bike rack, they'll relocate the bike rack along with that sign and the recycling bin next to it. Here is the total budget. The entire project is $241,360. This is an example of another library that has theirs with the customization, but of course ours will look better because we'll wrap it around the whole machine. This is a timeline. We hope by February 15, the machine will be installed, and then later on in March, we'll provide training to all the departments. We'll have a soft opening by March 15 just to make sure everything runs smoothly. And then hopefully April 1st, we'll have the ribbon cutting with the schools attending as a field trip. And then on my final slide, we understand how important it is to do outreach so we can maximize this library branch. So some of the ideas that we have is partnering with local schools, whether it's for open house, bulk library signups, connecting with the CBOs, promoting it, of course, to the Sunkiss Homeowners Association because of the area, and basically outreach at city events, town halls, and creating social media campaigns. One last thing, the bulk library signups, in order to get a library card, you have to be 16 and older to do it without your parents. Now, we understand how difficult it is for every single parent to come into the library to make the card. So what we'll do is we'll work with the schools and the teachers to provide the library cards to the teachers. We'll allow them for the students to take the library card application home. The parents can sign it at home, and then we'll do the card and drop it off back to the students because we understand it's not practical in this day and age to expect every single parent to come to the library and sign up for a card. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, like I mentioned, Lucia and I will be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much for the great presentation, and thank you for the good work that you're doing. Proud of you.
Is there no question?
Is this a proposal? Just are we is a proposal or we're purchasing these?
Yeah, this was part in the ARP that was voted on so we're moving forward. We just wanted to let you know what the, what it was gonna look like, what it's gonna provide, and make sure that everyone has seen it before.
Add,
Yes, Lucy.
even though this, if you, for example, the city of San Diego, they have numerous branches that they have around the city. It would be the first one in the state of Florida. So we would be very innovative.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, the library. Are we done with our appointment? The North Miami Youth Council, Library Board.
So I just need a motion to approve these appointments to.
Second.
Also, the library. Okay.
I have a motion made by Councilman Desilme to approve the board appointments. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0.
It was actually motioned by me, and it was seconded by Council.
Well, I
mean,
heard
actually
Councilman
by board-
Desilme.
By Council. It was motioned by me.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
And then, Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor, if you allow me through the city clerk, I've asked for all of my boards to be reappointed again. I said it for the record. So I just want to say names because I noticed that they were not on this list. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So for the advisory committee of the disabled, that's was Leah Julien. For affordable housing advisory committee, that's Michael McDermott. For community relations board, that's Naomi Blemur.
That's been.
For universal relations board, that's Dr. Marie Etienne.
We don't have a universal relations board? University?
University relations board,
Okay.
that has been deleted.
You said universal, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Universal relations board, that's Dr. Marie Etienne. For the youth opportunity board, that's Louis Présumé. And for the women's commission for women's board, Naomi Blemur.
So just to be clear, some of these don't even have any activity. And so when we appoint, we ask people to then fill out paperwork. They come in, they take an oath, and then they don't meet. And so there are some boards that, I'm happy to just do board appointments, but it ends up being that there's no activity. So-
Right, there's no activities. We've had to reappoint based on what we've been doing. We've been reappointing, and most of these boards are empty.
So there needs to be a liaison appointed.
Madam Manager, I thought, are not already liaisons appointed to these boards?
For most boards, we do have liaisons, but we don't start until we can get some appointments. So we've been sending memos. If you realize, since I came here, I sent memos about all the missing boards, but we still haven't been able to fill them out. I can resend memos on the boards, but we've been sending them.
Thank you. And also, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, I forgot to add one more nuisance abatement board, Aldo Flores. Oh.
So to clarify,
Madam Manager, how would do the liaison know who they are? Can they be in contact with the clerk's office or through you through the clerk's office to make sure that these boards are functioning, or encouraging my colleagues also to appoint?
From what I understand,
Well, I would send the memo requesting for the board membership, which I've sent some numerous times. When the board is filled, I assign someone for that board, and then that way, if there was reappointment or anything that's happening in the board, that person would report. But we do need to get them filled.
But I think if we get our liaisons to...
We don't have a board. That's
Chair,
That's
Mayor,
what-
Mayor
yes.
Bierame, can I
Yes.
say something? So a lot of these boards have just been inactive for years. And so there are no people to reappoint to them. There is no interest. And so there was supposed to be a sunset procedure that never took place. And so if that doesn't take place, then we can't determine which boards need to be consolidated. Some of them appear, I mean, it's been said before that they've been similar, some overlap. And so that process needs to be done in order to make sure that this is actually productive.
So who initiates the sunset process? The administration?
Nobody, it's you guys who
Or it's us?
never appoint people to those boards. The city manager, I think, sent multiple memos.
No, I understand, but I'm saying to initiate the sunset process for some of the boards that haven't been meeting or that are duplicates.
If the board have enough members, I think that's.
No, the process, if I recall correctly, was actually that the boards would have to come together, kind of provide a report of what they had done over the course of maybe a year or 2 years or whatever that tenure was. I don't have the reso in front of me. And then from there, you know, it would come to council as to whether we're keeping these boards or not. I mean, some of them sincerely are just inactive, haven't done anything for years, haven't met for years. And it's been frustrating for people who have been appointed to a board and no one else is on the board. It's been frustrating for them and they've kind of complained about this.
It's just a desire from council members, not people that come board.
No, if we need to do a cleanup, that's fine, I understand that, but it's not all of the boards that not an interest. There are some boards that,
yeah.
you know, need to be sunset. I do agree with you, but a lot of the boards, if you go right now, a lot of the boards are vacant.
Yeah, I know the last
we
council
just have
meeting-
not
And I guess
appointed-
to just kind of formulate the
Right,
process,
we
because I
have
know the
not
last
appointed
council
anyone.
meeting, Galvin and I appointed someone to planning commission and charter board, but I guess the whole process, adding them on.
It's just a resolution.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there was a couple.
What was that?
Thank you very much. Let's move with.
So to clarify, the motion was actually made by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin to approve the board appointments. The motion was seconded by
Becky.
Councilman Desome,
Oh, you're.
and
Okay,
the
okay, fine,
and the
okay.
vote was 5-0.
Thank you very much. Consent agenda.
Unless a member of the City Council wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda, tabs A through D constitute the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through D be adopted.
Thank you very much. Now your motion on the consent.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Timothy to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 3-2 vote. I mean, 3-0 vote, excuse me. Tab E, a proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, selecting a consultant for the provision of P3 technical advisory services, waiving competitive bidding in accordance with Section 7-120B of the North Miami Code of Ordinance. Further authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement between the City of North Miami and the selected consultant, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab E.
All right, good evening.
Recognize Alberto Destrada from procurement.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. As you know, our city administration has been requested by council to proceed with the pursuit of the proposed downtown redevelopment project. In order to do so, staff intends to engage the services of a technical advisory consultant to assist the city in securing a public-private partnership to bring this project to life. Accordingly, staff has interviewed several firms with extensive experience and qualifications in providing technical and financial advisory services to public agencies for the development of a public-private partnership project. The item before you represents staff's recommendation of the two firms which we feel are best suited to assist the city in this endeavor. The two firms are the Concourse Group, LLC, and WTP America, LLC, doing business as the WT Partnership, in no particular order, simply in alphabetical order. With the council's indulgence, I would like to give an opportunity for each firm to provide you with a very brief presentation of their experience and qualifications, and upon conclusion of their presentation and any following questions that you may have, staff requests that the council choose one of these two firms to act as our technical consultant for the downtown redevelopment project, and in doing so, that you also approve the bid waiver selection of these services by a 4/5 vote in accordance with Section 7-120B of the city's Code of Ordinance. Therefore, without any further ado, with your indulgence, the first firm to make their brief presentation, and again in alphabetical order, is the Concourse Group, LLC.
Mr. Mayor, as they approach the microphone, do we have an agreed upon definition of brief? I say that to be honest, because brief is in the eye of the beholder, so.
Yeah, the first thing, Madam City Manager, what are we doing exactly for the P3? What are we doing?
Well, we were going to select a technical advisor. That was what was asked. Based on the time frame that the board expressed that they wanted within 12 to 15 days. What we did was we had a group of professionals. They interviewed with the same group. It was 4 of us that interviewed each of the groups, and we came with the top 2.
You put a solicitation out?
No, we did not put a solicitation out.
Okay.
If we had put a solicitation, it would have been about 3 to 4 months, and that would eat into the 12 to 15 minutes time. So we had the same panel interview every single group, and we came with the top 2.
How many groups did you interview?
I believe it was about 6 or 7 groups.
Okay.
Right.
All that were either brought forth by AI.
Recommended by them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when we got to the final 2, we brought them before the board to kind of look at their projects and see which ones are there.
I understand that means instead of the city attorney hired them and you decided to interview them and bring them before council for a vote, right?
Yes, yeah. Based on the work, like, as you know, we hired the other consultant legal advisor. After speaking with our procurement director, we decided to do an interview of all of those that came before us and see which ones were the top 2 and bring the top 2 to the council.
Would be the technical advisor.
These would be the P3 technical advisor.
The P3 technical advisor.
Yes.
What is the scope of work? What they're going to be doing?
Well, we would be negotiating that. So right now, this would be for the downtown P3.
For the downtown only?
For the downtown only, yes.
We ask, Mr. Mayor, that the presentations be 5 minutes or less.
Yes, each, yes. Please.
Yeah, see, they both looked at each other because they were going to do 20 minutes each.
I promised we were only going to do about 10, but we'll be as quick as possible. My name is Brandon Kiley, Vice President of the Concourse Group. Presenting with me today is my colleague Jamal Bevins, one of our development analysts. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and Teresa, the City Manager, for inviting us here. You guys certainly have formed an exciting vision for your project with the downtown area, and you know, we hope to be a part of it and helping you turn that vision into a reality. So I'll just skip over this slide. I know we only got a few minutes here. Just real quick on Concourse's capabilities as it relates to, you know, doing P3 projects, kind of moving from left to right. You know, pre-P3 services, that's really where you're getting the project to a go, no-go decision. That usually starts with doing the concept development and telling the story about why you're doing this project, how it benefits the public, why you're choosing the P3 route, those sort of things. You guys have already done a lot of that legwork up front. So that's going to help us, really get ahead of schedule of the proposed timeline. However, there are some other boxes that need to be checked before you can get to that point. And as your advisor, we would help with the due diligence, doing the necessary analysis, really validating and testing some of those previously held assumptions and studies that maybe have already been done, really to just see how the project will be structured. At the end of this kind of phase, we will provide you with, a menu of options to really show you, what the trade-offs would be, what opportunity costs are involved, what risk transfer or risk retained would be in there, how the financing would look, really to allow you to choose what structure would work best and would be most beneficial to you all. Once a project makes, financial sense and it's structured accordingly, then we kind of move to that next column over in the center where it's, just the transactional part of it, which really gets us to helping you select the best developer for your project. Doing that will help you, draft the RFI and the RFP, market it to the development community, see who kind of the best players would be suited, get a real quality pool of developers to be able to choose from. And then we help you evaluate their responses and their proposals that they'll be submitting and go through the process of selecting and negotiating with that, whoever that best advisor is on your behalf. During this whole time, we'll be coordinating with your stakeholders and consultants as well. And then that final column on the right just kind of shows all the different project types that we're used to working with and dealing with. We're pretty agnostic to the actual project type. We realize that your project has a lot of different public assets, whether a civic building or police station or surface lot. We've kind of worked with all those parameters. And then so just a quick overview of the Concourse Group. We originally started out representing developers, so we kind of know what, tricks and games they might play, and we work our best to protect you from, an unfavorable deal at the end of the day. Since 2005, we've only been representing public sector government clients, so we don't have any conflict of interest, and we use that experience gained all over those years to help protect your interests. Some of our accolades here is, we've been doing this for over 20 years. We've worked in 42 states. We've done 24 projects here in the Sunshine State, including a few in the Miami area, which we'll get to in a second. And just to hit on those last two bullet points, we are a small business, but you can see by those numbers that we punch well above our weight class, and we're more than experienced and capable enough to be your advisor for this project. Reason on me. All right, this is just a quick snapshot of some of our various federal, state, local, and higher ed clients. Again, they represent all different asset types, whether it be affordable workforce housing, retail, mixed-use, office buildings, transit-oriented design, that sort of thing. We've worked on projects valued anywhere from $50 million that, don't really gain a lot of attention, and we've worked on projects that are worth over $1.5 billion in development. So big or small, we've kind of worked on it all. Two clients I do want to point out here, since we don't have time to talk about all of them. One is the Navy. We are the Navy's sole P3 advisor for their $10 billion P3 program. As you can imagine, they have a lot of assets spread all over the world. We help them look at their portfolio and find those opportunities where they can unlock equity that's trapped in those assets. As you can imagine, they have a lot of valuable waterfront real estate, that sort of thing. They have a housing portfolio of 64,000 units, a hotel portfolio of 20,000 units. So, we help them with a lot of those types of projects, whether it be utility resiliency, undeveloped land, looking at airport encroachment, that sort of thing, just anything that relates to their public buildings. I would say we've also worked with a lot of the work that we've done on these installations also has provided community benefits to sailors and their families. Some of the work that we've done with morale welfare and some of their public spaces, which includes museums that aren't as cool as MoCA there is over there, but they still provide that community benefit that you guys are looking to provide. And one other client I want to point out here too, because it's an interesting story, is MIT. They originally engaged us to study the feasibility for a P3 project for a new laboratory. As we got into the feasibility assessment, we quickly realized that it wasn't a good candidate for P3. And being upfront with them in the beginning allowed us to kind of pivot and get creative and look at other opportunities. And even though P3 didn't work out, because of the work that they do with the Air Force Research Lab on their campus as well, We actually ended up testifying in front of Congress for this, and that the P3 project wouldn't work, but the relationship with the Air Force Research Lab made sense made it a good candidate for military construction funds, and eventually they were able to get the money that way. And for that, they recognized us as their Small Business of the Year, which is really special in the fact that the work that's done at the lab that normally wins that Small Business of the Year award is these really high-tech R&D research companies that are working on next-gen communications. And lo and behold, a real estate consulting firm ended up getting the award. It's something we're really proud of. But really, all these clients represent kind of the same thing in that, we're used to combining all these different public assets together into one, master development or one project. Whether it's a public building or a parking lot or whatever, again, it's a public asset, and we're used to kind of taking these puzzle pieces and putting them all together in one coherent package and development. And really, all of our clients kind of have the same thing in common with you all, that whether it be a campus or a military installation or a research park or a city or town square, they all have that, public gathering space that kind of serves as that main anchor for the redevelopment and the revitalization. And, through the years, we've gained the experience of kind of following that placemaking philosophy to kind of create these new vibrant spaces, which you guys are looking to do as well. I'll hand it off to Jamal real quick.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So,
Can you say your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your
Jamal
title
Bivens
with the
with
company.
Concourse.
Speak louder, a little bit louder.
Sure thing. There we go.
Yes.
Kind of tall. There we go. Sorry about that. Good evening again. I know you all taking some time to review our project briefs, references, so I won't spend too much time on this slide. But I did want to quickly touch on the city of Miami Beach, not only because it's in your backyard, but also because it shares a lot of similarities with this project that you all are deciding to work on as well. So the city of Miami Beach was an adaptive reuse, redevelopment P3. So, mixed use buildings and workforce housing, with mixed use buildings and workforce housing and affordable housing component. The city of Miami Beach had 6 parking lot parcels, and they were looking to redevelop those parcels. And they engaged us to help determine the highest and best use for what the parcels would be. Thanks to the work that we did and our partnership, they wound up creating assets that help generate revenue for the city. And they also added to their affordable housing portfolio, which was very important for the city's priorities. And again, I won't waste too much time on this slide, but I did want to quickly touch on the project team that will be supporting you. Lori Roberts is the project exec. She's also our COO, who has 30 years of experience and on both the development and advisory sides of the table. Andrea Elson and myself, Jamal Bivens, will be your dedicated project team. Andrea has over 30 years of experience. She's been with Concourse since the beginning. She's led over 60 P3 projects, and she's very talented. Her and I work together a lot. I myself have 9 years of experience, specializing in development and infrastructure projects, mainly at the state and local level, but dealing with state agencies and council members like you all. We have technical analysis. Our project analysis, project analyst, and financial analyst will be Taylor White and John. Those two are very talented people as well. And our project SMEs will be Adina Zaboni and Sean Callahan. Adina Zaboni is a lawyer by trade with over 13 years of experience structuring P3 deals. And Sean Callahan is a former developer with 20 years of experience specializing in P3 deals as well, deal structuring and technical analysis. Combined, we have over 100 years of experience in real estate development and P3.
Yeah, and I would just add too, we have a deep bench of architects, engineers, planners, finance, econ backgrounds that we're able to tap into as the project ebbs and flows, and as needed. And we also understand that there's an importance to reflect the cultural and ethnic diversity that is representative of the city, and that, there will be some LBE or SBE requirements of firms to be included in this process. And, as a small business, we get it. We're totally supportive of that. And we look forward to working with those firms as well as, and bringing them onto the team and partnering with them and, and mentoring them as needed. And I guess one other point I'll just make here too, again, this is just a small sampling of our employees, but, every person you see up here has an advanced degree of either a master's, an MBA, or a JD. So, in addition to that 100 years of experience, they also bring the credentials and knowledge that goes along with that. And I think we had Q&A. Any questions? Give some final thoughts.
Board member, council member.
Yes, I have a question. I saw you had Chandler, Arizona. What project did you do in Chandler?
It was an affordable housing project. John Benton was our lead on that. I do not know the specifics.
Okay.
We've done over 200 projects, so it's hard to keep them all straight. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got quite the affordable housing practice.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. I'm very familiar with the McDill project in Tampa, and looked that up before. I was very impressed. Mike, I guess I have one question, and it's giving your assessment of what the city and the CRA has already done. How long do you see a project like this before we get to a contract?
To a contract signed with the developer, we've discussed that date with the city manager, and we could think that's very feasible, especially with some of the upfront work that's already been done. So, yeah, it's very attainable.
What is the date?
It was by this time next year, is what we understood, before the next election cycle.
Okay.
Sorry, Teresa, I didn't
TMI. But and secondly, well, I guess that was good enough for me.
So I think your 5 minutes are up after that last one.
Yeah. Hey, all right. Well, if there's no more questions, I'll just leave you with some final thoughts, if that's okay.
No, that's yes.
No, I'm just going to say they clocked in at 13 minutes before we started the questions, so I would want to make sure we extend to the next candidates the same amount of time.
If we have to ask you another question after the other, Councilman, go ahead.
You have a question?
No, so far you've answered all of my questions in your presentation, so thank you again for your presentation.
And all of our documents have been provided.
Well, the other candidates are is coming up. Is it 3 or 2? And the
Two.
package is 3. Okay.
It's only 2 of them.
Okay.
W2 partnership?
The third one? Yes, that's why they're coming up.
The second.
Madam Manager, in terms of how much is allocated for this, for I guess hiring consultant? We don't know.
Let's hear from the other one. We haven't. There is no. Yeah.
No price. Oh.
All right. The WT partnership is next.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Administration team. My name is Jose Davila with WT Partnership. Today with me here are Kaylin Robinson, here, a Senior Advisor with WT, as well as Matt McCleary, back there, a Senior Advisor as well. I would like to, do this in basically 3 steps just to kind of save time. I don't think I'm going to go through, the whole presentation here, but I'd like to tell you who we are, what we do, and what we will do for you. Who are we? We are a firm of 1,600 people globally, basically what we do, and we have about 50 people here in North America, and basically what we do here in the U.S. is cost estimating, P3 advisory, and construction management. While we have, the 3 team members here, we're supported by a deep bench of, engineers and cost estimators and advisors that will be working with us, that work with us on a daily basis. But, the team that you see here is the team that you will get. What is it that we do? We do mainly technical advisory services. So that basically means that things like, a P3, we are going to be developing performance specifications, and we are going to be developing technical submission requirements for the RFP, for the request for proposals, and we are going to support, the city administration team and the financial and legal advisors, from a technical perspective. With that, a few of the projects that we have done include, as a company, include, for example, the University of California at Merced, which is one of the largest higher education P3s in the nation, the first actually university P3. And, and we also have some smaller P3s, like, for example, we are currently working on the Clackamas County courthouse in Oregon. And, and these are projects that are highly technical in the way that they should be, developed. And that is what we support those projects from the tech perspective. As for me personally, for example, I've worked on P3s such as the LaGuardia Central Terminal Building P3 and Puerto Rico Toll Roads PR22 and PR5, supporting those projects from a technical perspective as well. Our understanding of your project, the City Hall, the police station, expanding the museum, and some other features here within the downtown area, North Miami. Just coming into the building, I did notice, certain, things that could be improved in terms of, for example, safety and security, right? But at the same time, when we talk about safety and security, we want to make the building accessible and welcoming to the general public. So those are exactly the things that we are working on, for example, at the courthouse in Oregon, or at the another project with the University of Texas in San Antonio, in which we had a highly secure building where there is some research and development going on by, for example, NSA, but at the same time, it is the School of Data Science, so it can be done. You are talking about having selecting a developer in a 12-month time frame, and that is, we think, absolutely doable. But everything is on the table. What we would do is collaborate with the financial advisors on our 30, 60, 90 day plan to basically establish what is the best delivery method for what you want to do. And then from there, all the options are on the table, including, for example, a progressive P3 in which you would engage a developer early on in the process, earlier than the usual two-step process. And that is something that we did, for example, at UTSA again. Just to close and to make this very short here, our promise to you is basically three things. One is collaboration, the other one is transparency, and the third one is efficiency. Collaboration, we're going to be listening to your needs. We're going to be listening to the residents of North Miami. That is our secret ingredient, if you will. P3s, everybody can do, not everybody, but a lot of companies can do P3s, but we go the extra mile in listening to the residents, to the city council, the mayor, and the city administration team. We're going to be working side by side with all of you to listen to your needs and establish the solution that works best for you. We are not here to sell you a P3 or a real estate project. We are here to find the best solution for your project. The second one is transparency. Hopefully, we will establish a relationship in which we are going to be able to communicate and talk about the risks and the opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities and turn those risks into opportunities. And efficiency, we are going to be able to deliver what we promise on time and on budget. So with that, I would like to turn it over to all of you for questions.
Thank you very much.
Same question. Well, I guess you already said you would be able to deliver it within a year. And
Yes.
you forgot to mention one of your other projects, I'm a Bulls, the Sun Dome. I saw that in your the Go Bulls.
Yes, thank you as well for your presentation. The chord that you strike with me was being able to talk to the financial advisors within 60 to 90 days. I really like that. And then also including the developer earlier on in the process. I really like the emphasis that you put on that. So again, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Councilman Desulme.
Thank you.
Question. Okay, and thank you, sir.
All right,
Thank you very much. Now it's to select one of those two. The first.
Do we have a
I have a question. Maybe I could look at the package. Are they both local? I mean, headquarters or office
No, they're-
locally, or
No,
it doesn't really matter. I'm just
No,
asking.
they're national firms. They're not based locally out of here of South Florida.
So would there be an office here if we, how does they working with us? How does that work? Do they have
I
office?
think we are working on, from what I understand, we are working with the city attorney and the legal team for the P3 to put the ordinance that's going to guide them on how forward. Is that correct? The P3 ordinance.
Yes, sir. That's part of the reason we haven't bought it yet. Plan is to bring it sometime in December, but we'd like to have the technical advisor on board
That's
so that
going
they
to
can
tell them
comment
what
on it.
they need to hire local, if they need whatever we need
Yeah.
about the P3, the participation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, you're in Tampa in the state.
Please come to the podium.
You got to come here.
So sorry, I was just saying that we do have an office in Tampa, and we're licensed here. As I said earlier, we've done 24 projects in the States.
I'm sorry, what's the name of your firm again, sir?
The Concourse Group.
The Concourse, and the other one?
WT Partnership.
You can take
WT.
one first.
WT.
Mayor, do we have was there a scoring? Like, do you guys have the
No.
scoring?
We are the scoring.
Oh, no,
No,
like
it's
the
in
top two, were they like the same? Like, how did you guys come up with these two to
They
bring to
interview
us?
the 7.
Do we have a staff recommendation?
Well, remember, this wasn't a formal solicitation process. There were interviews that were conducted by the city manager, the city attorney, myself, Mr. John Lorfield, our economic development director. So there isn't a formal scoring sheet tabulation that I could provide you with.
Okay. Mayor, do you want us to motion?
Well,
No,
I
you have
have
a
some,
question.
I have some more questions. Very briefly. The WT group, do you guys have an office in Florida as well? Huh? Okay.
We do not have an
Okay.
office in Florida. We work at a national level, and we've had tremendous success basically working, virtually and traveling
To your
our
location.
clients. Yes.
Okay.
But
And-
we would be happy to, engage somebody
No.
down here in South.
Okay. And what was your last project you done in this region?
We have, you guys
The-
have the list of projects?
Just one.
In
'Cause I
the
know
state
somebody mentioned
of
Miami
Florida, I'm
Beach.
talking about.
We have 4,
Just one of them. Somebody
which I
mentioned
can't
that.
remember exactly what they are, but we
That's
do
a
have
good
some
thing.
projects down here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I personally haven't been involved with it.
Okay.
but-
No problem.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item. The selection of one of those two firms. Technical advisor for the P3 project. Public hearing is still open. Public hearing is now closed.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept WT for the technical advice.
Can you speak directly into the mic? When we go and do the minutes, we won't be able to hear you. Councilwoman Estime Irvin?
I'd like to make a motion to accept WPTF, American Technical Advisors for the RP3 project.
Second.
Stop it.
E.
It's WT.
Are we already way
Yep.
down? Doing good.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estime Irvin to accept WTP America LLC, doing business as WT Partnership. For the P3 project, the motion was seconded by Councilwoman Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Mayor, the item is a two-part item. The first is the selection, and the second vote requires a bid waiver, requires 4/5 vote.
But since you have another item?
So I move.
No,
It's one item, since
it's one item. I would
of the
just
vote.
recommend, Councilwoman, can you just amend your,
Sure, so I'd like to recommend, I would like to amend my motion to also include the waiving of the bid waiver process.
And we second that.
Yes, reset.
Madam Clerk, can you call the vote?
I have to take notes. I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estime Irvin to accept WTP America LLC, doing business as WT Partnership for the P3 project, and also to waive, and a motion to also waive the competitive bidding process. And the motion was seconded by Councilwoman Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tab F, a proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement between the city of North Miami and CES Consultants, Inc. for construction phase engineering services for 2 force main improvement projects along Northwest 12th Avenue at a cost not to exceed $220,619, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab F.
Thank you.
Once again, for the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you is a request for your approval of an agreement with the engineering consulting firm CES Consultants, Inc. To provide construction phase engineering services for a sanitary sewer force main project along Northwest 12th Avenue from Northwest 95th Street to 125th Street. As referenced in the council report that was submitted in support of this item, this project is part of our Public Works Department ongoing sanitary sewer improvement program to upgrade the city's existing infrastructure. As the engineer of record, staff has negotiated an agreement with CES to provide additional engineering services during the construction phase of this project. Attached as part of the council report is the agreed-to proposal from CES, which outlines the scope of services to be provided under this agreement, which include but are not limited to field inspections, weekly reports, project certification, and closeout reports. The anticipated duration of this project is approximately 365 days from issuance of notice to proceed, and the negotiated fee is $220,619. Here with me in support of this item is the city's Public Works Director, Mr. Whistler Pierre Lewis, and also in attendance is a representative from CES. In the event you have any questions of them, Mr. Jose Caraballo. Concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them.
Thank you very much. Public hearing. So, tab F. Public hearing on tab F. Public hearing is now closed.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab F. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0.
Thank you.
Tab G, a proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, adopting policies and procedures governing the disposal of city-owned real property in accordance with Florida Statute 166.0451, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab G.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As you may recall, several meetings ago, probably maybe a month and a half ago, we had an item to dispose of city-owned property. We were directed by council to come back with an ordinance dealing with the disposal of surplus real property in the city. Today we have before you a resolution with that policy. Essentially what this does is gives the manager guidelines on how to dispose of these properties. The focus of the properties or focus of the policy is to provide obsolete and unneeded property to be evaluated for affordable housing or offered to sale to the general public in an open, transparent, cost-effective manner. So when we have the property on a case-by-case basis, the manager will review those properties and then come back with a recommendation to the council. The intent is to prioritize the use of the properties for affordable housing. Can't use them for affordable housing is to then dispose them in an open, transparent manner and use the funds to go into housing for affordable housing. Third option with properties is...
Please, can you repeat it again?
Say again?
You repeated that.
Okay, sorry. The options are to review the properties for their use. The first use would be to use it ourselves as affordable housing. If we're unable to use it ourselves for affordable housing, we would then dispose of it through a regular bidding process to the public. Use the funds that we obtain from that process to go to affordable housing, the housing department.
Affordable or workforce?
I think the language we use is affordable housing. Permanent affordable housing. And then
add workforce housing.
Say again, sir?
Add workforce housing and so on.
Well, the reason we have affordable housing here is there's actually a Florida state statute, 166.0451, which authorizes to do this type of thing, which is why, and that's the language that they're using, which is why we're using that language. I don't think that precludes you from using it for workforce housing. Just at a minimum, it has to be affordable housing. And then finally, it gives us the ability to, what we've done in the past, which is to give the property over to the CRA so that they can use it for affordable housing. The only caveat with that is if the property goes to the CRA, then the city would be reimbursed for the cost that for us to acquire it. So if there were any kind of fees for acquiring that property, sometimes we have to pay taxes or something, pay that back, and then 50% of whatever they receive for the final sale of that property. So those are kind of where it goes. This does not preclude, I know we had one question earlier today, does this mean that every city-owned property that we have ends up going through the process? And it does not. This is on a case-by-case basis. The manager can review the particular property and decide whether it's a good candidate type of program or not. I mean, obviously, there's going to be other property that the city owns that we will not dispose in this manner. But at the end of the day, all the decisions on how to dispose of the property ultimately will come back to the council for final decision. We hope that you will support this item tonight.
Thank you very much. Let's
What
open
was
it
the
to
last statement you made, Mr. Attorney?
I said that whatever we do, any decision on disposal of property will come back to the council for final decision. All this does is provide the manager with the guidelines on how to present it.
Thank you. Public hearing is open on tab G.
Hello. Veronica Guzman, 540 Northwest 127th Street. I have a question regarding the options. Would it be specifically in that order? It goes to the city first, then possibly to the public, and then to the CRA?
That's your question?
I have a question.
It will be answered at the end.
Okay. Because I am a person who personally is interested in a city property, and I feel like going in that order, I've seen a lot of developers just taking advantage of the city property and using it for their own personal gain, and in turn, we're missing out. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open. Public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, as she walks back to her seat, I just want to acknowledge, Ms. Guzman, your email to me of a little bit earlier this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. Question on the diet? None. What happened? Oh, yes.
So I laid those out in the order that it was going in my mind, but if you read the document, these are just factors that the manager can use. So obviously, if the manager, after evaluating all the factors, decided the best thing is to sell it to the public, then she can make that recommendation to the.
Okay.
I have a question, Mayor.
She can make the recommendation and bring it before us.
Yes.
Okay.
I have,
Yes.
so as it stands right now, Mr. City Attorney, because I got an email this morning too, and someone thought we were selling off all city-owned land, and I just kind of wanted to clarify on the record that we are not selling all city-owned land. This is just to establish a policy and procedure. So prior to this, this resolution, what was the procedure, or how has it been handled?
Okay, so for the first part is, no, this isn't for every piece of property the city owns. I mean, in particular, what these properties are, I mean, we've done it in different ways in the past, but these are normally properties that for whatever reason, the way that I've seen them come in is either someone passes away and donates the property to the city, or we end up, because of liens, we end up going through unsafe structures or something like that, and we end up owning these properties. We're usually talking about single-family homes or small vacant lots, that sort of thing. So we're not talking about parks, we're not talking about city buildings. And there's not that many of them. I mean, the last time we did it, I think there were maybe 5.
Yeah, 5 homes.
Yeah.
No, because I'm looking at the list right now, and I noticed some says like vacant lot residential. So that's something that could be used to maybe build a brand new, residence house, and maybe becomes an NSP or becomes an affordable housing project that we can do in the city.
Oh, and I'm sorry, the second part of your question, we've had no policy. So I know in some instances we've given the properties over to housing, and then they've done their thing, and we've gotten 501c3s involved to build something. In other cases, I think in this past year we've given them over to the CRA for them to dispose of, and in some of them they're just there, and we haven't made any decision on any of the properties.
Is the CRA director here? Because I was asking her here, because I know I've inquired about some of the properties. I think there was one that that we conveyed to the CRA. And I know she noticed it for over 2 months now, and here she is. And it's one of her last.
Evening, Rasha Kamal, Miami CRA.
Yeah, so with the property that we conveyed over, can you just kind of give us an update what happened with that one?
It was just one property, just for the record, that was conveyed to the CRA, and we did do an advertisement for disposition of land, because that's how the CRA statutes work. We received only one offer, and we considered it very low because it's below the appraisal value and the value of the property, and we haven't done anything yet. And I think I will be making a recommendation to the board to convey the property back to the city.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rose. Yeah.
Okay. You say two.
Give it back.
Yes, thank you.
That's it.
May I go,
Yes,
Mr.?
yes.
All right. Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. With this item, my concern is the intent of the item may be good, but my concern of the item is how the item came about and the direction that was given to, I guess, the attorney and the manager, well, not the manager, but the attorney in crafting the item, because it seems to me it was very politically motivated, because the item came about when I think Ms. Guzman was one of the people when there was 2 properties that was mentioned that was in District 4 a couple of weeks ago, and when those 2 properties came up, and all of a sudden there needed to be a policy. And tonight, in reading and looking at the policy, it's not really consistent, because the policy says now the manager gets to decide, if she likes it or if she doesn't like it. So I don't really, Mr. Attorney, that's a policy in reviewing that is fair. To me, that might be I know management is supposed to be unpolitical, but who to say that it's a property that I don't know how the general public does not view it not being something not political, because I don't know on what basis that the manager will make the determination what property gets to go to the city or not get to go to the city, or stays out of it. It's really shameful, really, to come to this point, because this proposal, it's a resolution. I'm assuming the resolution came about, I felt, because of those two properties that was in my district, and everybody kind of jumped up and then now come up with this flawless resolution that I call. So, I just want to put it out there. So it may be well intent, but looking at it right now, I just want to put it on the record. It was not, the way it came about is not the right way. I think if we want to do something and moving the city forward together, this is not the right way of doing it. Thank you. Those are my comments, and I will not be supporting the resolution. Thank you.
And
I need clarification too, please. If property X, just no example, if property X were to come available after this is passed, the manager would be empowered to make a series of decisions as to how that property might be sold, or
The manager's empowered with criteria,
right,
to bring you the options on how to dispose of that property.
Here's
So,
my
for example,
question.
if in the case that the councilman just talked about, if the manager came to you and said, "Hey, this property in whatever district, we believe that the best use for this property is for affordable housing. We'd like it to go to housing, and use NSP funds to whatever." You all could look at that and say, "No, we don't think that's the best idea. We want it to go out to bid." And that's
so. As it stands right now, without this being enacted, we make the decision. If this is enacted, we make the decision.
Yes, except before this, we didn't have a process. It was whatever anyone wanted to do with property in their district. And so if you all remember, this isn't the first time this came up before. The first time it came when I first got here was we brought a discussion item to the council and said,
the
"Hey."
question is why you say it's been sponsored by Council Estimé Irvin and Cassandra Timothée, when they were not even here when this.
That was the very first time, yeah. But this particular ordinance was brought. This resolution was brought up because the last time they asked us to do this.
So
this
before,
was.
But we've been working on
we
that
did.
before.
We bought it before,
We
and
had
each
the
time the council
resolution
said the council voted
we
down.
didn't do
We bought. This is not the first iteration.
No, but Mayor, if I could explain. So before the item that Councilman DeSome is talking about, I actually had a discussion early on, probably in June, with the city manager to sponsor this resolution. And he mentioned, "Hey, I had it before. This is when the first property was conveyed over to the CRA that no one now has bid on, and that she's, going to give it back to the city."
Why don't we just leave it the way it is now?
But as of right now, we don't have procedures. And when
We
you
have
don't,
procedure. We set
well, no, the
policies.
procedures is up
We
here.
are the
But if we're
procedures.
saying that there's an affordable housing crisis in the state right now, we know that. Why not set for, priorities saying, hey,
We can say we need a park, maybe the park is based on the.
but right now we're conveying, we're doing it on a case by case basis, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, what's going to happen? And Councilman DeSome, it wasn't that, hey, I was just trying to get understanding of what are we doing with these properties, because as your resident has stated, I would love for residents to have first dibs on lots to purchase homes, because right now there is a crisis and people are looking to buy homes. So if we want to be fair and we want to be servants, hey, let's serve our community first, right? And let's not, serve developers or just give city-owned land to whomever, but let's give it to, our residents. So if that's something that we want to put in that amendment,
But
let's do
Councilman
that.
Timothée, we've been preventing on doing that. I've been here for about 8 years. We never convey any city land to developers, and
Well, we lease
and we've
some.
Huh?
We've leased. That's
Where?
just, yeah.
Which one? What we lease? It's a land we've been there for over 46 years doing nothing, and we're not collecting anything until I came and we find someone to lease it out for a few years for over $100,000, and then we're gonna have tax coming out of it It's been an empty lot. People park and do whatever they want for over 40 years.
No, but I'm just
That's
saying.
mean it's something that been doing nothing. When you
No,
say
and I
we
understand,
lease,
but now we know
we put
affordable-
money on the table by doing so.
So, but we know that affordable housing is an issue right now. We know people
But
are
that's not
looking
the
to-
only thing. Let
And-
us decide if we're gonna do housing or if we're gonna convert it to a
So
park
we can offer an
or a
amendment to
center.
it.
We're still having it here right now from.
I don't think I was still speaking when all that broke out. That's okay, that's okay. So I totally appreciate where they're coming from. I don't think it changes anything.
No,
'cause
I
it
don't
keeps
think
coming
either.
back to us no matter what.
Yeah.
And sort of tagging on to what the mayor just said, if there's a need at that moment for parks and we're tied into affordable housing, we're creating more bureaucracy that I don't think is necessary. So I will not be supporting it this evening either.
So if I may, please, again, I just think that we're setting up some policies that setting some clear steps for the record. Councilman Dezume, this is not a political attack. I'm also a co-sponsor to this, and I think we all want to be just transparent to our residents. And the only thing that I'm saying, the reason why I would love to get your support on this is just to show process. Again, and with the emphasis on this policy is affordable housing. Our first priority would be, let's try to get any asset that we have for affordable or workforce housing. And like the city attorney said, it's not in all cases that will happen if we need to do a park and everything, but at least let's re-emphasize the mission that I think we all agree on is affordable housing. So at the end of the day, it's going to come back to us again. And at that time, like we do with anything else up here, we can say, hey, why don't we amend this? Why don't we do this? But what is so wrong about having a process? So that we know that once there is an asset, that we are, first of all, looking to this, making sure that it's affordable housing. The manager all knows that we're on one page, that's what she's working, or she or he, whatever manager is here. I don't think it's particular to this manager. It's what we'd like to do.
But I think that's where it gets political because they're already busy doing their work. We are the political body. When the proposal came up, I think I was very transparent. I said, Ms. Guzman been emailing a couple years. It's been years, and I think I called the director of social service was here. I said, are you in touch with the housing manager? Because she met with them a couple years, because she's a resident, and there's another resident. When I met with Mr. Spring, and I think I mentioned it with the attorney, I said the purpose of me meeting with them, we did not specifically want, folks who outside the city to get these properties. So the goal was, how do we get residents to get these properties? And the answer that I got from Mr. Spring was like, well, there might be a way, we could, for residents, whatever the case is, whatever the process. So I was very, very transparent in terms of the goal. So it wasn't very, it was all out there. So I don't know if anyone would mistakenly, gotten it or whatever the case is. But the whole idea is we all want something. I think we all are saying the same thing. But when I looked at the resolution, it says that the manager get to decide what goes forward and not. I'm like, so what am I here for? So what your resident voted for you're here for?
It doesn't say that.
That's not
No, but that's what the attorney said.
No, that's not what it
What
says.
does it say?
It's not, sir.
What does it say?
It
Mr.
says-
Attorney,
it
you
gives-
said,
it gives the manager criteria
and what,
so
to
that she can,
decide.
no,
So she
not
can
to
bring
make a
to
decide,
us.
to make recommendations to the council on what to dispose of the property. It comes to you.
so, okay, but
And
Jeff,
So if I can
let me
add
ask
in-
That's my
Mr.
concern.
Attorney.
It's
If
going
I
to
can
just
add in
keep
this
coming back to
process-
us no
Well,
matter
sir,
what.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you look at the list, and I don't have the list of property in front of me. If you look at the list of properties, these are not properties we acquired this year. Some of these
Yes,
properties
they've been
we
here
acquired
forever.
and this keeps coming up because each time we try to dispose of the property, we come to the council and nothing ever happens. So the property stays there. I mean, I know for one, I think the one by Sasso Pool, I think the one that the councilman's talking about. I mean, it's been vacant like that since I've been here as a city. When that was actually the first time. That's the reason I bought it the very first time, because I saw this piece of property sitting by Sasso Pool and I said, maybe we need to come up with a process. But that's what's been going on. I mean, if we don't make a decision at some point on what's the criteria to dispose of these properties, we'll never dispose of the properties.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Attorney.
We can do it on a case-by-case basis,
Through the
still
mayor,
here or out
through the mayor,
there.
if I can add in, one of the processes that I did when I was over the real estate in the county was that we would get the list of all the properties that were not being used, that were vacant. We would look at them, see if they made sense to go to housing, so for infill properties, see if they made sense for affordable housing, see if it made sense for a project or P3, and then present that usually first to the district commissioner and present it and
But
talk
you
about
still
what the
can do
options
that
are.
right now.
So I can get the list.
You still can do
this
that
is
without
exactly what
this.
this process is. Take a look at those properties and make a recommendation based on looking at that, and then submitting it for the council to make the decision. So it's just that it would
Madam
now
City Manager.
kind of have a process. I now need to look at what do we have available, and then actually define, where they are, what makes sense, what kind of use it would be.
What I'm
and
saying,
then
Madam
bring
City
that
Manager,
forward.
you still can do that right now without this. You still can decide
And
as a city manager.
Mayor, all we're doing is
And
trying
when
to,
us the
we're just
idea.
trying to formalize the process.
Okay.
It's just in the code, there actually is there is a process for other property. So, for example, vehicles and that sort of, there is something in the code that talks about how the manager disposes of those properties. It's just the code is right now silent on real estate, which is what we're trying to put something in the code to cover it.
And,
End of the
and
day, we will
Mayor,
work on it.
well, I'm just trying to get, maybe if Councilman Dissome, you mentioned your residents, would an amendment saying that, residents get priority on, residential law, would you be, like, I'm
Case
just
by
saying.
case, we'll decide.
That's something that we
that's
can
not
add right
tied
now
to-
as an amendment to garner your support, because I'm in agreement with you.
I don't have any issue with the proposal. My issue was how it came about when the two property for the residents that I was talking about, how that came about. That's where the political thing, I felt that it just came from that. If it was, well, you know what, Councilman DeSorme, I understand that there's, two property, but let's talk about what needs to be done for the district and the city, and let's come up with, something. But
Councilman, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you remember, I was one of the ones that said, hey, what is the process?
We didn't know.
Right, so I was one of the ones that said.
And staff didn't
that's what
know
we're
either.
doing now. You understand what I mean? I
What-
just
what
wanted
I'm-
to understand.
Well, that's
and
what
then
I'm
that's
saying.
when the mayor, if he remembers, said, hey, we did have, it was brought to us before, but we didn't do anything with it. You understand? So I wish you would take away the
no,
political feeling
no,
that you're having.
because
I
it's
just, because
if you said that after this would, after your different property, this could go into place, but it was just like, oh wait, let's wait with what you have in your district, because it's all of our city, and then let's come back with our policy and procedure.
Councilman, if I may, when the first one went over to the CRA, I had questions. Like, I really didn't know what was
Well,
happening.
the manager's the one who gave it to the CRA.
No, and no one gave me those answers.
Oh,
and so
okay,
when
well,
the
I
other
don't
two
know.
came about, I'm like, yo, what's going on? Is this a reoccurring thing that we're just sending properties over to the CRA? What's the process now? The
What-
CRA is getting ready to ping pong it back to us because
but
she
we've been
couldn't sell
doing
it.
that.
But I'm
Once
just
part
saying,
was
the process should have been outlined, because when I asked those questions, everyone was like, well, I don't know. At first, it was, hey, we're going to rehab the property, and then we're going to sell it for affordable housing. Then it was, oh, we're just going to put it out to bid. So there was no clear process. I even asked the CRA
got it.
attorney, what's the process to sell these properties? Because people are coming to me daily looking for homes to buy, and if we have
Where's
a home,
home?
Where?
the first
city
one.
don't have home to buy.
No, Mayor. There's the property right now that's for sale that we conveyed to the CRA.
Yeah,
and right
but-
now, no one bid on it, so the CRA is going to send it back to the city. This is the property that the city attorney foreclosed on. So my thing is, I just want you guys to get I want Councilman DeSome to get understanding, because it wasn't a play to say, hey, no, what are you doing here? It's that I was trying to get understanding, and in talking with administration, they said, hey, we need a policy. So this is administration who has asked for this policy, because right now their hands are tied, because like, what do we do here?
But see, administration should have talked to me as well.
And there you
That's
go.
the problem. They should have talked to me as well.
Okay, so can we?
Because and Councilwoman, 1 second, please. Because I spoke to the manager before I asked her. I called the manager. I said, Madam Manager, is it possible that we could transfer that property over to the CRA because I know we're kind of busy. And I'm just trying to get this going fast. That was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't I was trying to get it to the CRA for anything. I was just trying to get it moving fast because I had saw that they got something to the CRA kind of move fast because our property been there for the past 3 years. I mean, Ms. Guzman, I'm tired. She was been emailing me. You know, I had to meet with housing 3 or 4 times. And I think Jeff said that ever since he got here, that property by the pool was there. So I'm like, well, how can we? And she didn't want nothing from us. And she says she don't want no loan. She doesn't want nothing. She just want to be able to get that property fixed as a homeowner and fix it and get it going.
Yeah.
So that's the
thing
intent.
about the CRA, we have to mention the reason why we convert the property to the CRA. The city said they don't have money to pay for legal fees for the foreclosure, and then the CRA take care of that, and then they convert the land to the CRA. That was my understanding when we decided to do that.
No.
Let me tell. So the first property, the one that was given to the CRA, there was a conversation between myself and the executive director of the CRA that the plan was to try to get single-family lots and to redevelop them. And that particular parcel that you mentioned, it happened to be about a day or two after that I was talking to the city attorney, and you can make a decision as to whether or not we let it go up or we're going to go take it. And I said, well, I just spoke to the CRA director. She says she wants to get single-family lots. If we can get that single-family lot, let's go forward, and she's willing to pay for it. So that came out of that conversation.
But they pay for the foreclosure.
I'm not sure if we got the
No?
reimbursement yet. As of yet, we haven't gotten reimbursed.
But it was the initial purpose of that.
The purpose was because he wanted to do a program where she was taking single-family lots, and it happened that came up. And so when I saw it and I spoke to the city attorney, I said, wait, I just had a conversation with the executive director. He wants to have parcels like this. We can go ahead and give her this parcel. I called her up and said, we found a parcel that's available. We could actually go after it. There are costs to it. If you want it, we'll get it. And we transferred it over and conveyed it. That was the one property. The other 2 properties were based on Councilman Dusume saying that he spoke to the CRA and he's going to have those 2 properties transferred to the CRA, and he wanted that to be placed on the agenda, and we placed it on the agenda. At that meeting, there was a question of what was the process, and I said there really isn't a process. There hasn't been a process. But I do want to say that part of Florida statutes is to look at the list and say which ones are available for affordable housing as a step in looking at them. So
Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much. And is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estime Irvin to approve the item at tab G. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion fails
Thank you.
with a
Tab
2-3
I.
vote. Tab H, a proposed second reading ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Utilities by amending Article 7 entitled Stormwater Utility to create Division 2 entitled Detection and Elimination of Illicit Discharges into the Stormwater System, to establish stormwater discharge regulations, and Division 3 entitled Surface Water and Stormwater Management to establish surface and stormwater program, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, codification, and for an effective. Tab 8.
Second reading, let's open it to the public. Tab H is open to the public. Public hearing is open. Tab H, public hearing is now closed.
Move approval?
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab H. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bieneme. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desame, how do you vote? Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Timothy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Tab I.
Tab I, a proposed second reading ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, adopting with changes amendments to the City of North Miami's comprehensive plan to incorporate the adopted 16-year water supply plan and to strengthen coordination between water supply planning and local land use planning by amending the text contained in the future land use, infrastructure, conservation, intergovernmental coordination, and capital improvement element. Providing for transmittal of comprehensive plan amendments to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity and all other review agencies as required under Chapter 163 Florida statute, providing for adoption pursuant to Section 163.3184 Florida statute, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, codification, and for an effective date. Tab I.
Thank you very much. Second reading. Tab I is open to the public. Public hearing is open on tab I. Reading. Tab I. Close to the public.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab I. The motion was seconded by Mayor Biename. Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Biename.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Councilwoman.
Yes.
Mayor Biename, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desome, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Timothy, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Question regarding priorities. Yes.
Yep. I guess that's me. So with the
Wait 2 minutes.
no, I'm gonna take 5.
Tab J, discussion regarding legislative priorities.
So I wanted to talk about our legislative priorities as a council because typically what other cities do, the council will discuss our priorities. We will send a resolution to the Miami-Dade delegation and also to Congress, especially with this infrastructure bill that has passed. This is the time where we can discuss our legislative priorities, send that resolution to Congress, send it to our state representative and state senators so that they understand, hey, this is what our needs are for the upcoming legislative session. I've been in discussion with several lobbyists in Tallahassee. There are several funds that are available. The Special Revenue Fund, the Capital Improvement Fund, where we can ask for, hey, resources to improve our city. I've worked in the state senate before, so I'm familiar with the legislative process. I'll be lobbying in Tallahassee and maybe even DC to ensure some of our priorities are, pushed forward. So kind of wanted to discuss as a council what some of, the legislative priorities you all had so that when the resolution is brought forward, it be something that is supported collectively so that we can push it when we are speaking with our, state and federal representatives. And that is the item.
All right. Thank you very much.
If you guys have any, I know I have a list that I'll be sending to you.
To sit down with the administration, each council member with the priority, come up with a block. That's best. Yeah. Instead of discuss each one, right?
No, yeah.
Can I ask something real quick, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor? I know we, Councilwoman, I think we still have the same governor, right?
You better stop.
So, right? Well, I don't know. I mean, we may talk, but I don't know if we're going to get anything. If this is the same governor who vetoed our food pantry for the senior. So, I mean, North Miami Beach got a little bit of thing for their, their water project. But in the past, they have not been friendly to us. So maybe we'll try something. I mean, but whatever priorities you think you have, just put it down for us.
So just for note, we did apply for 2 things. We've applied for the septic to sewer and for the bridge. We worked with the lobbyists. We've already submitted those in terms of the
You
legislation.
didn't apply for no food for the people, for the seniors?
We applied for infrastructure, which was what was advised by our representation. That was our best shot, was infrastructure.
Oh, and then especially with the federal government, because we know the governor will not be working, the federal government may not be working together with our state government. They may be dispersing directly to cities. So like how North Miami Beach.
That's what we are working with
Clarence.
the U.S. Conference of Mayors now.
And the League of Cities.
And especially the Water Council, the Water Council of Mayors. See
Oh,
if
the National
money can
League of
be
Cities.
directly to municipality application.
And the federal government has been doing that. I know for the ARP, some cities,
Who?
the federal government, some cities receive their allotment directly from the federal government.
We have, right?
But you don't know
Yeah,
if your
we-
government
Well, some of
gonna
them came from the
accept
county and
infrastructure
some.
money.
Mhm.
You don't know if they're gonna accept
Hey, you'll be surprised.
your
Who knows?
governor.
Who knows? But
I see
No.
your governor
No, she
accept
said
the
she know
money
people.
No,
from the
the
federal
government.
government.
hmm
You don't know if they're gonna accept the money.
No, and that's why the federal
Just
government
give it to
distributes
us
to the cities
directly.
directly.
We don't know yet.
They will. We know.
Yeah, we'll get
Well, I
some.
know. I've heard.
Okay. Okay, now, citizen forum.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Axelrad. I'm the General Counsel for the South Florida Police Benevolent Association, 10680 Northwest 25th Street, Doral, Florida. I wanted to come up and talk to you guys because last month there were some comments made from Joe Roglieri about the health insurance, and you had a referendum that was passed 5-0 that was increasing the cost of health insurance. And he made some comments about, us being on board, and I wanted to clarify that a little bit. Just so you're aware, of course, we want premiums to be kept low, but the idea, and I can tell you just countywide, with all the municipalities that we represent, we're not seeing the kind of increases that are being presented here. To say that there's a less than double-digit increase and we're happy with that is not what we're seeing elsewhere. Your employee benefits package, when it deals with insurance, is just, it's so expensive for employees, for your employees, for our police officers to be able to get health insurance for their families. Other cities have similar plans, and their employees don't have to pay nearly as much. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. The idea that we would have been here if we didn't agree, we would have been here lining up is what Mr. Roglieri said. And I heard one of the comments in the background saying, well, they probably don't know. Hit it on the head. Hit it on the head. Nobody made us aware. Nobody made us aware that it was going to be on the agenda. Now, I'm not saying that according to the contract, that the city ever comes to us and presents these kinds of proposals and says, hey, this is what it's going to be. There's no discussion. And I'm not saying the city is wrong in not doing that. They're not required to. They're not. So I'm not saying that anybody's doing anything improper, but in saying that we're agreeing to that is just not accurate. We're dealing with very difficult negotiations right now. We know money is limited, but I will tell you, and I think it's great that you just brought up, legislative priorities. And, we are having cities that come to us that say, hey, we got this American Rescue Plan money. We know we're not at negotiations right now. We want to give you more money. We want to say to those officers that are on the street.
Thank you very much. It's Citizen Forum. We only have 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Citizen Forum still open.
Oh, I thought we were giving him a proclamation.
Who?
Mr. Pavitel.
That was Henry Patel.
Oh, Henry
Yeah,
Patel.
different guy.
William Previtel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I wanted to bring up an item that we've, first of all, thank you very much for sponsoring the adoption program and giving recognition to that. That was such a wonderful thing to do, and I'm so glad we have it in our community. Back to what I was trying to propose. For more than a year, and particularly a number of months, we've had a number of items that we've put up that we believe all of you are in favor of or would support. These are zoning enhancement items that would be implemented across the city. They included recognizing a live-work building type as something that could be implemented. Rather than having just residential or just offices, this is something that would enhance the values, reduce commuter traffic, have people more engaged in their immediate community. This has been already well received. Many people have heard it. Next item is that we have a situation sometimes where we have a certain amount of height in a given area, a zoning area, and what happens is the developer, whoever's developing it, will take that entire height and cram in their residential apartments or their offices or whatever it might be. They'll cram it in, giving little or no recognition to the lower part or the upper part. If we exempt the lower portion, whatever the height is, maybe 25 feet, or the upper portion, that will start to facilitate better entries, mixed use, maybe breezeways, maybe other uses that are not the primary usage. It could be more elegant. It would come at the cost of that developer. It would enhance the neighborhood, and it would be an overall improvement for everyone. There could be other services and such. Maybe it starts to get a little bit more mixed use down below, and maybe we can get amenities, more amenities on the roof that may become community centers and such. And the last item is for us to increase, where possible, throughout the city, heights, not change density, but increase heights, which will be good for hurricanes and elsewhere. Thank you.
We never see a project that you're talking about. We never see a project that. No, you have 2 minutes. You're just gonna. Yes. Public hearing still open. Citizen forum.
All right, Junior Ramos, 1120 Northwest 125th Street. I have a suggestion for all of you on the council. Since there's a concern about how people can pay their utility bills, maybe there can be a career fair and it can take place at Pepper Park, considering we as a community have numerous companies, small and large, looking for people to hire. Bernadine Joseph, 1055 Northeast 126th Street. I hear the council talking about helping citizens with utility bills, but why no help in finding a career for those who don't have? Aren't there fairs for careers? I can't remember any time there was a career fair in the city. Sang Fang Dang, 995 Northeast 131st Street. I have a few concerns. First, do the city help with getting job for people living here? Second, do I qualify for free money to pay my utility bill? Thirdly, why the garbage code enforcement guy same as economic development director and a real estate? Mayor, I also have comments that were previously submitted for last council meeting and that were not read into the record at the last council meeting for tab O. So I'll be reading them into the record at this. Richard Sullivan, 1670 Northeast 137th Terrace. This is a public comment on tab O for Tuesday, October 26th meeting. I am very concerned about this project. The city's land development regulations include rules to protect the people of North Miami from the adverse impact of uncontrollable development. Most obvious adverse for the plan to put 8-story buildings directly across the street from single-family homes. You have also so far agreed to a 15% reduction from the normal required minimum. Marie Samuel, 12725 Northeast 12th Avenue. A call regarding tab O. I am totally against this project. Totally. That is my comment for the meeting tomorrow. Ron Scheiko, 1100 Northeast 128th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161. Tab O. Asking for city council and politicians of North Miami to do the right thing and think about the adverse impact that it will have on single families living in the beautiful neighborhood, which many have lived there for more than a century. The politicians are voted in by the community and can be voted out in the next election. So think about who you are trying to do the right thing for the people for once. Have a great day.
Jose? You done?
Yes, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Public hearing still open. Citizen forum still open. Thank you very much. Citizen forum is now closed. Council report, District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Happy early Thanksgiving. I'd like to ask that we have a special council meeting next Wednesday evening, if we can pull a quorum to talk about and vote on the Wildcat Center. I understand there's been significant meetings of the mind in the last several days and couple of weeks. And I'd like us to meet to,
what date?
What's that, Wednesday the 16th? Sorry, no, Wednesday the 17th.
Why not Tuesday instead?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Why next Tuesday instead?
I'll be flying back from Kentucky with my mom that night, and I could, if that flight's delayed, I might not even be here myself. But Wednesday the 17th or Thursday the 18th. That way, if there's still some hiccup at that moment, we still have the regularly scheduled council meeting of the 23rd to iron it out, and I think we're prepared everybody to get this determined by the on holiday recess.
Thank you.
18th?
18th?
Let the city manager see the date with council. Yeah, between those two days to see
Yeah,
Everybody's
just keeping
there,
in mind
right?
that Thursday, the 18th, is our comprehensive plan, public work meeting. But, we'll work out, we'll talk to each
It's a
other.
public work, yeah. Talk to everybody and
Maybe
see.
we start at 6, they start at 7 kind of thing, or they meet
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. You done?
Yeah, that's the only
Yes,
thing. So
thank
what, are we saying Thursday then?
No, let's just see
Yeah, because
between
I have my
Wednesday and
turkey
Friday.
giveaway
Thursday.
the 17th.
Huh?
I have
That's
my
fine.
turkey giveaway.
18th's fine with me. I was just picking either of those
Yeah.
2 dates because
I'm okay.
Friday night wasn't.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with Thursday.
Thank you, Mr.
This week too.
Yeah, so on Wednesday, November 17th, I'll be hosting my turkey giveaways. It's also in partnership with the Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated and Taboo Fitness, who has graciously donated some extra turkeys. So if we can't serve all of District 2, we will be, we'll be open to North Miami residents as well. So please sign up. We're not disclosing the location until you register. So you can call to register, you go on Eventbrite. And of course, the Thanksgiving Day Parade is back. So we are looking forward to seeing everyone Thanksgiving morning, bright and early at 10 a.m. for our, socially distant. Well, I wonder what the
Socially.
Well, no, I wonder what the COVID protocols are going to be because, do we still have them? But mask on at our Thanksgiving Day Parade. For me, Mayor.
Very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank my colleagues for appointing their respective students to the Youth Council. Thank you. I'm excited. These students will host their first official meeting next week, Tuesday at 4 o'clock Chambers. I would like to also ask everyone to join me on our bike ride that was already mentioned in our public announcement this Saturday. This weekend, we're collaborating with the Robert Filippo Epilepsy Foundation as we paint the city purple. So don't forget to bring your bikes, pad, and helmet. And if you don't have any, I'm sure the chief will have some for you. Right, Chief? All right. And also, please save the date for our Winter Wonderland on Pioneer Boulevard, December 17th. I'll be partnering with the mayor at 5 o'clock for our newly renovated Pioneer Boulevard. But if you are listening and are interested in sponsoring and helping us sponsoring this event, please contact Patricia Levasseur at 786-385-2576. As usual, I can be reached at district3@northmiamifl.gov. And everyone have a good evening. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Real brief, on November 19th, there will be a flyer out. I will have the District 4 turkey distribution from 8 to 10 at Sunkiss Grove for the 19th, November 19th. Yeah, it's a Friday. I don't know. I think it's in the morning from between 10 and 12. And what else is going on? Well, I don't know. We don't know yet how the process going to be. It's always a mess each year, but we hopefully it won't be. It'll be a smooth, process this year. But I want to mention, the information will be out so shortly. I want to mention a real concern, Madam Manager, regarding the PBA information. I was very, vocal about the information that I was hearing, and I stepped back because of the information that I got from Joe that evening, because I remember one employee, he had told me that their insurance would have increased $2,000 with a family of one person from going on. So that was a little concerning. But when I heard that employee was okay with it, I'm like, okay, well, I ain't paying nothing. So if everybody's okay with it, that's fine. But it's really disheartening and to hear that, especially when I was under the impression, thinking that employees was okay with the plan. at least the comment that was made. So I actually voted under the pretense that, that they were okay with it, because, again, talking to some folks, the concern that I was hearing, it was a little bit high. And my concern and my advocacy of it was why we couldn't corner Aetna, or to lower it a little bit less than, because I did talk to some other cities, it was a little bit lower, even the county, I think. So I couldn't understand why it was where it was, and we were saying that it was okay.
It's not self-insured. Can we discuss?
If I could have, if I can take a moment to have Paola Pierre
Madam
respond.
Manager, give me a second, please. Can we discuss that one-on-one instead
Well,
of?
there was a public statement made, and so I would like if Ms. Paola Pierre could respond to the statement that was made by the PBA representative.
But
But do you want to discuss the PBA now?
Hold on. Well, no, before, Madam Manager, with all due respect, I don't think it's fair for her to respond, because she's not the person who made the comment. So I don't know how she's going to respond for the person who made the comment.
She was there when they had the meeting that we have every year with the unions, and so I'd like her to
I
speak
understand,
about who was represented at the meeting.
again, she's not the person who made the comment. Again, I'm just talking to you that I really, we just have to clarify that, and because that's not sitting very well with me tonight. But that's basically it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So each year there's a meeting, and the unions are there and represented. From my understanding, the PBA was part of that meeting. I was not present. Ms. Paola Pierre was present. And so they had their representation there. They did not voice any issues there. And I'm allowing her, asking for her to speak because she was part of the meeting where the PBA was present. Their representation was present.
Good evening.
Thank you, please. Thank you.
I don't think it helps anything to rip a Band-Aid off of something like discussions.
Right now. Now you're gonna bring the whole PBA, and you cannot discuss that. If Joe was here, he was the one making the statement.
May I suggest that you have the conversation with the manager and Joe, and then maybe you would want to give us a report.
And
we can also have that conversation with the manager.
I'd like to hear the results of that.
Thank you.
I don't want to do it right now.
Thank you very much. City Clerk report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just hoping to see some residents over at Sunkist Grove this Friday, November 12th from 6 to 7:30, so that we can get some, things off our chest. A lot of people have been contacting me and maybe not being able to get to City Hall. So think of it as a big public forum, and I encourage folks to come out and just get in touch with what's happening at the city, and also just be able to express anything that you've wanted to express over the past few weeks. And that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
That's your birthday today?
I can't give you all the best of me all the time.
Oh. City Attorney's report.
No report, Mayor.
City Manager's report.
I would just like to report that we are going to be releasing a pilot online permitting system of this month, and residents should be able to submit for all types of permits online. I want to thank the building department and IT, and also my assistant city manager that worked really hard to bring this ability to do that and move us into the 21st
When they're going to
century.
review it? How long is going to take them to review it?
I'm
Not
sorry,
6 months, not after 6 months, 1 year. Submit is one thing.
We are
Someone
rolling it
to
out
review.
November 15th. They should be able to go online and submit for a permit on November 15th.
So they can purchase their yard sale permit for $10
Yes.
We could just get rid of that one.
That's all?
Well, that was one of our priorities, and so we're happy that we will be launching it.
The chief just said. Your report, chief. The report. It's early.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to adjourn, seconded by Councilman Desame. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-1 vote. The time is now 9:22 p.m. We're adjourned.